So one of the things that actually stops us from getting ahead in the markets, right, is the fear, right? There's so much fear around trading the markets. Initially, it becomes greed, right? Firstly, it becomes greed. Like, I want to make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money in the markets, right? So that's the first thing. And then what ends up happening with that, right? Just like a guy who I spoke to this week, there was so much greed. He wanted to make so much money so quickly that he ended up losing $60,000 in 2 months just recently, right? So the greed. Then what ends up happening? You become really greedy. Then the pendulum swings and you become really, really, really fearful in the marketplace, right? So what I want to do in this video right now is I want to give you some simple things that's really going to put the power back in your hands about, and obviously it's going to be around what's happening with the overall indices right now. And I'm going to really give the power back to you and give you a bit of a lay of the land of how really successful trading is in the marketplace, and hopefully this can impart for you for moving forward now and obviously into 2025 as well too. So one of the really big things is I really want you to understand that the first thing I want to say about these markets is that no one definitely knows what's going to happen, right? So if we're spending a lot of hours trying to find out the interviews and all that sort of stuff, right? No one definitely knows what's going to happen in the marketplace. Like, no one definitely knows this. And the reason why I say that is that because I want to give the power back to you, right? The power is in our hands. It's not in an expert, right? I've become pretty good at what I do right now only because I've been doing this for 20 years, right? And so therefore when I do teach stuff like my free trading course I'm giving away right now, I'll give access to my free trading course. You'll be able to see the link in the description there. But when I'm all about understanding the markets, right? And what makes a successful trader in these markets is one, just understanding the dynamics of the flow of the markets and not getting, and no matter whether the market goes up or down, removing that emotion to say, what is this, so we can just get a good understanding. Because the market does this, right? The market will give you fluctuations. It'll give you really big swings. And this is what I was talking about with actually some of my clients just recently, because I have a small group of private clients that I'm with every single day. I have a 12-month inner circle coaching program. It's closed right now. It's all full now. But so I'm not trying to sell you this, but the purpose of me saying this, I'm with them every day for a whole year. And I was actually with them just last week on the Friday close for the US market, and I was talking to them about some really awesome advanced trade management strategies so they're not getting too whipped out too quickly. And so I want to bring this up from a perspective of what I've talked about myself in the YouTube land, right? Which is what? The Russell. And I've been saying King Russell for a long time. Now I want to give you just one simple thing here that you can apply to any market out there. So we can just sort of, let's actually pull it back here. Let's just make sure make sure that we're not getting too emotionally whipped out, because we're probably missing the big picture here. Now, what the market does is this. Let me actually I'm going to remove a lot of these indicators here from the charts, because we don't need a lot of these indicators. By the way, guys, if you do have a lot of indicators, see all these indicators here. A lot of these guys are a complete waste of time. Right? An absolute complete waste of time. They confuse you. You don't know, it's like, look at all these things, right? What do they do? It's like everyone's looking for these indicators, right? And the VWAPs and all that sort of stuff. And one thing that I've found, guys, that gives me the power back is what I've called understanding the markets on a deepest level so we can make good decisions. Not an indicator, but the chart, okay? Now, let me explain what I mean here. So, let's do this here. So I want to talk about this here. Actually, you know what? I'll just remove all the moving averages for now. I'm going to bring up the Russell here because I've been long the Russell for most of this year, right? And I've been saying King Russell for most of this year. So, but why is that? Why is that? And I want to put the power back in your hands. So no matter what chart you're looking at, start to apply this analysis to you. Okay? Yeah. This analysis for you, so you can start to understand this. But also, even if you're not involved with the markets, we can not go down this massive rabbit hole of getting emotionally trapped of, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. Because if you do go down the rabbit hole, if the market does start to drop a lot, right? And I remember this back with the ES. I was doing this with my actual private clients here. And if I bring up this chart here, which is the weekly charts, let let's go to the S&P 500 here, right? I remember back here when the market was dropping down a lot, and I was telling, and everyone was saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. If you guys remember this 10% drop here in the markets? Look what happened just recently. Now, why did it do that? Why did we just continue up with this really big bull market here, right? Because one thing I really want you to understand is that in the context of what happens with these markets here, right? In the context of it, it's important to understand what these markets do on a whole that shakes you out, okay? So if you've been trading the markets for, say, less than 5 years, you're probably focusing on all the wrong things here. And I want to share with you one simple thing that can keep you on the right foot most of the time. One simple thing that I promise you will give you leaps and bounds ahead if you just apply this one simple thing. And that is, where is the overall momentum in the markets, and going with that until the momentum changes. Right? And so that is just, let me explain something here. What the market does here, right? What the market does, we know there's things called trend analysis, right? So there's an overall big trend here in the marketplace, right? So again, no indicators through here. All right, I have different moving averages here. I like to use moving averages for like a momentum indicator, but let's just use the chart as a as the momentum here, okay? So let's go back to the Russell here, because I think the Russell's a really big thing. Well, firstly, I've been long the Russell this most entire year. I'm still long right now. My options, this is an option position for this year, and my options right now are well over 100% return. I think they're getting close. They were up through here. They're around about 150% return. But anyway, I'm still long right now, and away we go. But the whole thing about me saying this here is that why have I been so confident within my Russell position? And I really want you to understand this here, right? I want you to think about this as a perspective of the way markets work, right? So the market will go up through here, right? And then what will happen for a while is we'll start to get a drop down through here. Unfortunately, when the market does start to go through one of these periods through here, right? And then we might have a very big move through the upside, and then we might go through something like this here, right? Like that through there. And this here may be, maybe a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, right? This period through here. One of the things that I really want you to think about is like, okay, look at the overall flow of the market and say, has the momentum changed? And what that simply means is that to form and make a trend, right? We know the whole thing, the trend is your friend until the end, right? So if that's the case, what the market will do for the amateurs who are not focused on the overall flow of the market, which means the trend analysis, which means up, down, higher, low, up, down, higher, low, up, down, 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 higher, low, up, higher, low still, right? For the people that don't understand these markets, they're getting so whipped out of these markets and so emotionally trained because they're seeing these drops. Like the Russell's been quite volatile, for the last, say, 6 months. But even though the Russell's been volatile, look what happens, right? As long as we make a low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Now, sometimes what can happen is we can come down to the same low, but as long as we make higher lows, or as long as we don't break the lows, like we don't actually make a lower low, right? What we don't want to see is we don't want to see the market come down through here to now make a lower low, right? If that happens, then the momentum has changed. But as long as the market does keep doing these higher lows, the overall trend is to the upside. The overall momentum is to the upside. And this is where a lot of people, if you're trying to think the market's going to crash and all this sort of stuff because you're going down the fundamental road, it's a big mistake, by the way, big mistake. Trying to incorporate the debt bubble, which, by the way, they've been saying it for 10 years, and the inflation and the Trump and there could be a reason of thousands of reasons and millions and billions of reasons why something's going to happen in the markets. But I want to put the power back in your hands, right? Put the power back in your hands. Why have I had such a successful trade in the Russell? And I believe by the end of the year, it's going to be even much, 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 much more greater, right? Why is that? And this is just not from the Russell perspective. This is from any market perspective, guys, right? Some people see, I'm teaching you something here right now so you can go apply this to any market out there. Some people say, oh, John, that's great, but what about gold today? And I'm like, well, take what I taught you and go do it. Go do it, right? So if we look at these markets through here on the Russell, nothing's changed. Even though we've had some quite big volatile swings, what has happened? low, higher low, higher low, maybe same low or a slight higher low, but see how it's same low, but we didn't break the low, did we? No. Then we made another higher low, then we made another higher low, then we made another same low, didn't break the low, right? Remember I said before that sometimes the market will give you higher lows and sometimes it'll come down, make the same low, and then it'll continue back up, right? Apple did this year as well too, right? It did this, but it didn't break the low. If we break the low, the trend is no longer up. And then guess what happened? Bam, rally to the upside. And as this was coming down through here, guess what I was saying to my clients? Well, we don't know, we never know, right? We only can respond to what the market is providing for us. And as this market was coming down through here, I was actually telling my clients, guys, the market is still on an upward trend. And as long as we stay above this low here, this point through here, the Russell's still on an upward trend. So let's just see what actually happens here. If we do break below that, then we have to respond to that in that manner. We never know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm telling you right now is that if you do have a strong trend on the upside, making these higher lows, and you do try to short it here, 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 guess what? Even short it here, you're going to be on the wrong foot, right? You're going to be on the wrong foot. So even though we don't know what's going to happen, I guarantee you that your success rate is going to be horrible. And that's where, like, if you're trading heads and shoulders, double tops, reversal patterns, divergent setups, they're all counter trend, going against the trend, going against the market systems. That I promise you, if you're doing that, which most people do, if you're doing that, then it's going. You're going to have a low win-loss ratio, right? Because we know the trend is your friend to the end. And if you look at any market out there, even the S&P 500, right? S&P 500. Look at this here. Even though we have pretty big drops, as you can see, and especially for the last couple of years, since 2023, even back down through here, all through here, if you're trading a divergent setup, you'd be getting run over right now. That's where, like, one of the best things I do say is think about your foundations of how you're trading the markets. And what does that mean? Are you trading reversal patterns or are you trading continuation patterns? Meaning continuing the trend. Why? Because if you're trading reversal patterns, you're going to have a low win-loss ratio. If you're trying to pick tops of the markets, you've been wrong. You know, you may have been right short term, but wrong overall. So you've been wrong almost 100% of the time by trying to trade reversals. And secondly, you can never, trading reversals, you're never going to pick up on a really big profit there. So just go with the market, right? Go with the market. Same with the S&P 500. What's the S&P 500 doing right now? Low, higher low. There was a small little higher low, but there was another low there. And look what's happening right now. Another higher low through here, right? So we're continuing to the upside here. So I wanted to do this video for you to give the power back to you, right? And our thinking is that these people that are experts in the markets, they definitely know what's going to happen. I have a really successful trading mentor. He's been trading for 30 years, makes a lot of money from trading. But guess what? He doesn't even know what's going to happen. No one definitely knows what's going to happen. And so if we spend a lot of time going down that path of trying to find someone to tell us what to do, now we're on the wrong foot. But the number one thing you can do is remove all those crap indicators that are only going to confuse you. And the rule number one to me is, what is the trend in the marketplace? And if I go back to my Russell chart, even though we do get a lot of volatility, every time we get these drops through here, you'll be saying to yourself, what is the trend? And that simply means we made a low, we made a low, and we made a higher low. So if this comes down through here, this could just be part of the trend before we make another higher low, and away we go. And that's what you want to do, apply to every single market out there, in any market out there. Now, what you want to do from a trading perspective, guys, there's a lot of people out there that don't have any rhyme or reason of why they're doing it. They're just doing something because they hope there is, right? Do not be hoping, right? So for example, if I go to gold right now, I've been talking about gold actually changing, like everything's changing through here. Let me take you. Right, I've been talking about gold, like everything's changing through here, right? We had a lower low, and that's the first time we've actually done this. Now we're getting this rally to the upside. So there's a lot of not sure, right? Is this going to change trend? Is it not going to change trend? What's happening here? There's a lot of not sure in gold. what you want to do is you always want to trade when the best trades are when we have a clear control, clear trend. And so therefore gold has always been, now gold is it's a 50-50 bet. Is it going to go back up to new highs? Is it not? It's a 50-50 bet. We're not sure about gold right now. Now this is for trading purposes, guys, right? So the best things, the best trades are when we definitely have a clear trend, like the Russell and all the other indices, even the Dow Jones, right? Look at the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones has clear been what? Clear trend. Clear lows, higher lows, high lows, and then another high low. Whenever we do get a clear upward trend or clear downtrend, they are the best trades to take because someone's clearly in control. The buyers are clearly in control. The buyers are in an upward trend, or the sellers in control, or sellers in a downward trend. Whenever we start to get things like we're seeing right now with gold and silver, there's not a clear trend. There's not a clear one side's more dominant, and therefore it's a gamble, right? Big gamble. But what we want to do is whenever there's someone clearly in control, meaning there's a clear trend through here, that is the number one thing for me, is the trend. And I'm waiting for someone to be clearly in control, like the buyers are starting to create an upward trend, because when that happens, it gives me a much more high probability from this one technique of increasing my success, not only in one trade, but throughout my entire trading career.